Salutations everyone and welcome to What Mattered, the show where I tell you what mattered this week in the news. Blizzard's World of Warcraft servers were DDoS attacked over the week, and no, DDoS attack is not a Pokemon move because it activated my trap card. That's how DDoSing works. At least I think. In our first bit of news, we have a new video game announcement. Came out this week thanks to Game Informer. Just Cause 3 will be coming out next week for the PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. It's kind of getting the ball rolling as far as current gen consoles finally getting a long list of library of games that are solely on the current consoles, which is, the next step of really them taking over. It's going to be a while until they become the proprietary base for distributors to sell games to. But it will get there eventually, as it always does. And speaking of which, Microsoft has said that Xbox Ones are selling at triple their original rate in the past week. They are outselling PlayStation 4 in the past couple of weeks and are closing that gap ever so slightly every single day. No longer does PlayStation have double the lead on the Xbox One. They're actually relatively close right now with just a few million in between. I think Xbox One is probably going to be passing Wii U pretty soon, but PlayStation 4 still has a sizable lead. The smart money says that PlayStation 4 is probably going to be the biggest seller out of the current gen consoles, but this gap is going to get smaller and smaller as long as Microsoft keeps releasing a lot of awesome first-party titles. We have the Master Chief Collection, which definitely helped. Microsoft also said, but the Assassin's Creed bundles and the Sunset Overdrive bundles helped very well, which are selling out, by the way. The white Xbox One with the Sunset Overdrive are selling out everywhere, and Microsoft says they're not making any more, so a lot of people really wanted that white Xbox One, and so you're going to have to act fast if you want to get one. Also, with the holiday price drop of $50 on the Xbox One, which ends in January, so capitalize on that if you do not have one already. PlayStation 4 still has a pretty sizable lead, but as far as which console, is the best in the games so far, it's still too close to call to see which is going to have a lead in the future. Right now, I think I can easily say as far as first-party titles goes, Wii U has the most and the best first-party titles. Now, they aren't really focused on third-party developers, though they kind of stick to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, so that's why, they don't really have as much of a need for first-party titles. But now, with new games coming out, new games being announced, such as Just Cause and other games, and exclusive titles coming out in the next couple of years, we'll start having those libraries stacking up, and then we can really compare to see which is the better deal. But right now, there's a lot of awesome bundles and deals and Black Friday stuff going on, so saving a lot of cash, getting some games if you did not have a current gen console already, and I would recommend it. They're pretty awesome. And speaking of current gen releases, Smash Bros. For the Wii U comes out next week, but the story this week was a 10-year-old girl by the name of Carissa who was playing the Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U at a GameStop, and she was annihilating people. Some seasoned competitive Smash Bros. Players at a GameStop, this event, a little sneak peek release. And she was annihilating people with Sheik, with Diddy Kong, and she was just making fools out of these seasoned veterans, people that, have been on the competitive scene for a while and know the game. And it was really impressive to see this girl pick up characters so quick and be so good. Not just the fact that she was, a girl, but a 10-year-old having the aptitude to play a fighting game at this caliber, at this speed, picking up moves like she's 1900, seeing someone playing Diddy Kong, and then all of a sudden knowing how to play it. But it seemed too good to be true, and it seems like it is. There was a listing of a casting call for a girl to completely humiliate people, and it looks like it was a fake, because we know that this girl, who's been giving the moniker Carissa the Destroyer, which is so metal, by the way, there was a casting call to have a little girl do this at a press event in a behind the camera kind of thing. And it didn't get really a whole lot of attention outside of the story that I saw, so I haven't seen it on any like bigger spectrum as far as like news or Nintendo or YouTube stuff. But it got a lot of attention for about a day, and it looks like it was faked. We know that this girl is an actress, and this listing does look legitimate, so it looked like too good to be true. We all wanted to believe that this 10-year-old could absolutely annihilate people and just be this awesome video game prodigy. Well, it turns out it was a fake, which is something that a lot of people did not give Nintendo the credit of being able to do so. A lot of people said Nintendo's behind the times and wouldn't do this kind of thing for viral marketing. But it looks like they did. It didn't garner as much attention as I thought it would have. But, you know, these kinds of things you always have to take with a grain of salt. Nowadays, whenever you see something that looks too good to be true, it turns out to be a viral marketing campaign. And it looks like this is what this was as well. But, man, that would have been cool. Battlefield 4's final DLC, Final Stand, will be hitting premium members on the 18th of November, so this coming week, and it will be available to all players, I think, 2 weeks after said date. I myself am a premium member and cannot wait for the Final Stand DLC. They gave some screenshots and some video on the new maps that take place in a wintry Russia setting, and we'll have some futuristic prototype weapons. Some of them are kind of a nod to factions and weapons you would see in Battlefield 2142. So that's pretty cool. Cannot wait to see what the new weapons are. They haven't released any details on what the new weapons and DLC equipment are going to be, but they have shown what the maps look like. This is the final DLC for Battlefield 4, which I know has gotten a bad name with all the stuff that's going on, that had been going on from the launch, and the messiness, which I did experience a little bit myself just a couple of months ago, but not really in the first few months. But definitely looking forward to the Final Stand DLC. No word yet on what the achievements are going to be. Probably going to be finding out either Monday or Tuesday. And hopefully they aren't as annoying as the China Rising ones, because I really want to perfect this game, because it's a lot of fun, and I really like the final DLC, so I'll probably be like streaming that when it comes out on Tuesday. And that'll be the end of Battlefield until Hardline comes out. In other gaming news, as I mentioned before, World of Warcraft servers were DDoS attacked at the Warlords of Draenor expansion launch. And this was a directed attack. I don't know if anyone's taken claim to credit this attack or not. I don't know if it's the same people who attacked Blizzard and very many other companies a couple of months ago. But if they know who is behind these attacks and they're not reporting on it, good on them, because that just gives them the attention that they want. But unfortunately, these DDoS attacks have caused a lot of problems with Blizzard servers. So they've had to make a lot of changes to help lighten the load of the servers and, you know, just fix with the amount of traffic that's coming to, you know, a huge game, which I found surprising that they were having a trouble dealing with traffic, since this game, you know, is not going to be as big, as populated-wise, as it was a number of years ago. So it should have a lot of experience dealing with a large volume of people. But especially in lower market regions, like outside of the US, they're having trouble. They're capping off population of people trying to access Draenor. So a lot of people aren't being able to play their game in their new DLC World of Warcraft. So that is a shame, especially when you have douches doing their little script kiddie stuff, as script kiddies do. And hopefully this will be mitigated and cleaned up in the next coming weeks so people can play their damn game. We have some updates on the Uncharted movie, which used to be the movie that nobody wanted to direct. Now that it has a director, it seems like it's the movie that nobody wants to star in. We had Mark Wahlberg drop out of being Nathan Drake when one of the directors dropped out, and so now they've offered the role to Chris Pratt of Guardians of the Galaxy fame. He has turned down the role, and it doesn't look like anybody wants to be Nathan Drake. There's been a lot of hard hits that this movie has taken with the direction. They have a new writer on board, Mark Bull from Zero Dark 30 and Hurt Locker fame, is going to be writing the scripts. He's a big fan of the video game, which is a definite plus for us gamers out there trying to get a faithful, awesome adaptation of a fantastic franchise. of which might be the first ever good video game movie if it ever comes out, and if anyone ever wants to play Nathan Drake. Of course, people for years have been clamoring for Nathan Fillion, who is, let's face it, just too old and just wouldn't be that great for the part. Also, there's always a lot of obvious names that people throw out there for filling a certain type of look or character that I don't think works. I don't think Bradley Cooper would be a very good Nathan Drake. There's a couple of people that I have in mind for the casting of this movie, if it ever comes to fruition. As far as for the role of Nathan Drake, I don't think that there's an obvious candidate. It would be, in a perfect world, it would be Nolan North, but he is a little too old. He has a good look. He could do some working out, but it probably wouldn't be the type of actor that a movie studio would get on board with. They would want a more recognizable name or a superstar, which a lot of people go to since Bradley Cooper. I think David Pomeranz, or however you say it, the guy from Bones, has a good look and could do, the quirky, comedic side, as well as the charming, charismatic side of Nathan Drake. I think Zachary Levi would be a good candidate. We need somebody who isn't established as somebody else. We need somebody who can be the Nathan Drake, not somebody who already has all these other roles that, like, this character is this actor. We don't need somebody who already has another franchise attached to them like Chris Pratt, who I don't think would have been a good Nathan Drake anyway. So someone like Zachary Levi I think would be very good. They need to be American. I'm tired of all these British people being thrown out there. Nathan Drake is an American. He needs to be very, very charismatic. He has to have a comedic side to him. He's got to be good looking, in his 30s, and a good actor. That's what we need. As far as Elena Fisher goes, I think the obvious choice is Emily Rose, who does the voice of Elena from the show. She's got a great look, the right age, and would be a perfect counterpart to anyone who plays Nathan Drake. And if they absolutely need a star that people would want to bank on in a studio, you would have to go with someone like Kristen Bell. Outside of those two, I think you casted it wrong. If you don't cast Emily Rose or Kristen Bell, you don't have a very good Elena on your hands. So this movie has a lot of hurdles left to go for it to actually happen, and I really want to see it happen. Oh, and by the way, as far as casting Sully goes, Bruce Campbell. I mean, come on, that's pretty obvious to me. In comic book movie news, we have another casting for the Captain America Civil War movie. Daniel Bruhl will be playing a villain in the film. Now, we'll get to that later. Daniel Bruhl is a fantastic actor. If you haven't seen Rush, watch Rush, a criminally underrated film, and even more so underrated performance by Daniel Bruhl as Niki Lauda. Oscar-worthy, very, very, very good actor. Good to see him in an awesome franchise like, a Marvel movie. But a villain casted in Civil War. What type of movie are they making here? We know it's going to be a watered-down version of the Civil War storyline that we all know and love from the comics, since it's only going to be starring, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, your S.H.I.E.L.D. people, and the introduction of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. So there's not going to be other heroes. You don't have Spider-Man. You don't have the mutants. You can't really do the Civil War story in the capacity that it should be made. And to throw someone as a villain in there, we all know that this is a struggle between Iron Man and Captain America. Whoever you agree with is your hero. Whoever you disagree with is the bad guy, Iron Man. So to have another villain in there, I think is really weird. I don't know what direction this film is going. Glad to see Daniel Bruhl, casted in an awesome role such as this. But however, he's not going to be playing the main villain in the movie, which was obviously going to be Captain America Tony Stark, if they're going to be doing the Civil War storyline, at least somewhat like the comic. But he's going to be still a villain, but not the main villain. They say that he's also might be the main antagonist in the Doctor Strange movie, so I don't know what character he's going to be playing. Good casting, just because he can play whoever he wants to play, because he's that good of an actor, but I don't know what they're doing with Civil War. I don't know who this character could be. It's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I'm still very hopeful and excited since Winter Soldier was so awesome, and they haven't really had a misstep since making the first Iron Man film as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe goes, but just very, very confusing with this movie. I don't know what to expect, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, as I always say. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what mattered this week. Not a whole lot mattered this week, to be perfectly honest. Kind of a slow week. Last week was a pretty big week, and I assume next week will be pretty big with Smash coming out. This week we did have the Master Chief Collection drop, and if you would like to see me play Halo 1 for the very first time in my life, go ahead and click that link right there. And hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for more. One of these comes out every single Saturday, and I hope to see you guys next time.